Hello, in the following video I will share how I run my Resto Druid through the BFA zones and quests. Even though you're probably much better running a Druid in a balance of Pharaoh spec while questing, some people like myself may prefer to stay in Resto spec in order to get more familiar with it. Um, However, I myself fairly new to the spec, so my apology if this guide is not that accurate. This video will also show how to run WeakAuras 2 dynamic group setup for Resto Druid. And with that, following 3 add-ons will be required: WeakAuras 2, Clique, and Vuhdo. You can find the download links at the description below, along with the list of other add-ons that I also use. Right, before I start, let's go through my keybinds real quick. Um, this is important as it is related to how WeakAuras 2 will be set up. My keyboard binding is quite simple. The green keys are the movement keys, the red are for DPS, and yellows are utilities and support skills. Other than that, I also use Shift modifier for the following: Shift R and T for more utilities, Shift A for Boomkin form, Shift S for travel form, Shift D for my Traveler's Mammoth mount, Shift E for my Water Strider mount, and Shift 2 for back, Shift 3 for map, and Shift 4 for my character info. My healing spells and defensive cooldowns are mostly binded to my mouse. I'm using Logitech G300S, which is quite reasonably priced and much cheaper compared to other G series Logitech mice. In this picture, you can see how I indicate my mouse keybind in my WeakAuras setup. For Resto Druid, I don't use all the available buttons, which is 16 in total, when using Shift modifier on some of the buttons. If you need more buttons, you can always add Control modifier to the mix as well. In addition to this keybind, I also use the same bindings for my Clique setup, even though it is not necessary as the Clique bindings alone are sufficient. But using the same keybind for two different spells will only create confusion, so might as well mirror them. For those who are not familiar with Clique, I will go through the setup for the add-ons. However, before we do that, you will need to do a slight setting to your Vuhdo. Just open your Vuhdo settings. Under the General tab, go to the Miscellaneous category and check the Clique support. Once you have done that, the Vuhdo spell tab will disappear after screen reload. Another settings for Vuhdo is on the Panels tab and under Hot Icons category. Here you'll be presented with a couple of presets. I choose the top layout, and over here are my indicator settings. Now let's look into my setting for Clique. This setup is accessed through the spellbook and abilities window. You can find the Clique icon right at the bottom. On the screen, all you need to do is click Bind Spell, choose the spell, and click the spell using the mouse keybind that you wish to set up for that spell. Let's delete and recreate my current binding for Rejuvenation. Now I click Bind Spell, find Rejuvenation on the spellbook, and click it using mouse button 5 as I intended to bind the spell to that button. If you right click the binding, there's also an option for you to set the binding as hover cast. This will let you cast a spell simply by hovering your mouse over the target's health bar or your party or raid UI. Here is a short demonstration of Clique Hovercast in action. Now let's look into the DPS section for the Resto Druid. I use WeakAuras 2 Dynamic Group to arrange my spell priorities. Basically, you have 2 dots to keep up, and if either one is missing, the icon for the missing dot along with its keybind will pop up to the left side of my character. In human form, you will have one more offensive spell, and that is Solar Wrath. However, if you switch form to Boomkin, you will have 2 more additional spells, Star Surge and Lunar Strike. Casting Star Surge will give you a couple of buffs, Lunar and Solar Empowerment. Both will increase damage and reduce cast time for Lunar Strike and Solar Wrath respectively. This buff stacks up to 3 times, which means you can store up to 3 charges of the buff spell. On my WeakAuras Dynamic Group setup, whenever either spell is buffed, the icon for that spell will be shaking. To set up WeakAuras Dynamic Group of your own, you can check my other video for tutorial, or alternatively you can just import my WeakAuras string and change the keybind indicators accordingly. To the right of my character are some of the defensive and healing cooldowns. However, most of the healing spells do not have a WeakAuras alert, as I'm just relying on the Vuhdo hot icon to give me the information required. And finally, at the bottom are my utility spell cooldowns, including miscellaneous stuff such as Flip Buff Reminder. You can find all 3 strings separately on the download link in the description. In an AoE situation, the strat is pretty much heal yourself until they die from your dots. Take note that some mobs do hit much harder, so this method doesn't always work. If you find a friendly player on a mob or on a group of mobs, it is best just to throw them a hot, as you'll be credited with the kill as well. And with that, I thank you for watching and happy gaming. Bye bye.